gentlemen, turn your speakers up. It's time for the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE. Oh, yeah! Let's meet the hosts. First, a man hailing from the Hub City in Indiana. He goes by @TooSweetKyle on Twitter. The host, Kyle Gagliardi. And your co-host, hailing from the Valley of Lake Tahoe. He goes by @JimTuck89 on Twitter. Jim Tucker. And last but not least, hailing from the cornfield somewhere in Indiana, the full-time part-timer, Ian Garavaglia. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram @PodOnTheMark.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I'm your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi. And joining me, as always, is my good friend Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucky!
Whoa! Are your gears full or fuck?
They're kind of lubed up a little bit,
Okay.
you know, like we're
yeah.
starting to get the hinges going, but you know, I'm not fully there. How are you on your gear level right now?
My gears are not popping large. Well, like, okay, you look at the card.
Let's hear it.
We got a number of matches. We know AEW puts on good pay-per-views, so that is the expectation. I am expecting to get my money's worth on Saturday. My personal internal excitement level to get to Full Gear and the build-up and things like that is dwindling a little bit. It's not as high as it once was. But we got Full Gear, World's End, and then heading to Revolution at the Staples Center in LA.
Ooh.
So like they're making some plays, you know. Yeah, excited for the card nonetheless.
Yeah, like you said, we know what we are going to get from AEW when it comes to pay-per-views. I can only think of maybe one pay-per-view that I disliked, and I think we watched that together at Mikey Wilson's with the exploding barbed wire death match. What pay-per-view was that?
Ass. I'm on it.
Yeah, you'll be able to figure it out. But it looks like our third co-host has actually decided to join us this evening. Originally, he was not going to be a part of the show, but I think we've been able to make things work. So, Ian, I'm going to bring you in. Hopefully everything's working. How we feeling? No, it's not working. All right, we cannot hear a word he is saying for some reason.
He doesn't seem to be muted either. Yikes.
Might not be plugged in or something like that. I don't know. Hopefully he can get that figured out over there. Because Tuck, you also did not hear him, correct?
No, I can't hear shit. AEW Revolution 2021 was the barbed wire death match.
Was it really?
Exploding barbed wire death match. At AEW Revolution 2021, Kenny Omega put his AEW World Championship on the line against Jon Moxley in an exploding barbed wire death match. They had already had a lot of history together, and that stunk.
Yeah, that's like the only stinker. So we're expecting good things from AEW Full Gear. I'm gonna bring Ian back in here and see if anything is working for him.
We should be good now.
How you doing, Ian? Welcome to the show.
You have to plug it in?
No, I just had to fix the audio setting and change the input to my actual microphone and not my webcam. Yeah, it's been a long day, and I'm here, and I'm ready to talk wrestling. The best wrestling company in the world.
Gears.
How what? Oh, what?
How lubed are your gears? Or how full, how lubed, or how poppin' are your gears? That was the start of the episode.
Well, first off, my gears are popping large. My gears are incredibly greased. I mean, you could slide anything on those gears right now. Feeling great. Ready to let these gears let loose this weekend.
Bonk.
Shout out to the main event crew that's hanging out in the chat, though. We got Tim Vicious in the house. We got the Great Brown Hope. And we also have Dirk Vogus, who asked, can we hear him? Yeah, I think we can hear you, Dirk.
Well, anybody named Dirk sounds like a stand-up individual.
What a name, right? Dirk Van Fleet.
Every time.
What a
Every time.
legend. He is the only OTM community member with the soundbite.
We have a drop for him. That's great.
Would be
That is true.
exhausting if we came up with a drop for everybody that entered the chat sometimes, you know.
We gotta.
Well, go
I'm
ahead.
sure there's got to be one for a We Outcha or something. There's got to be something out there.
I can work on something because we also have the I'm here to tell you right now. We don't.
We
care.
do not
Now,
care.
we haven't used that one in a while, but
We don't care.
Yeah, it would be difficult on a usual show day to have a soundbite for everybody because usually the chat is very lively. But tonight things might be a little different just because we got a half-hour late start. My Hoosiers were playing some basketball, or at least they were for a little bit. They were playing some basketball. They didn't look too hot, but guys, it's all about the football team. We're a football school now.
Apparently, go Hoosiers.
Who would have thought?
Big game this weekend.
I'm an IU guy. We got the Bothwell Connect, so I support the Hoosiers.
You know what people could do to support this podcast? They head on
What,
over
Kyle?
to the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com. You see this holiday OTM sweater I got on? If you use code use code Xmas from now until Christmas. I'm not turning this off, folks. So from now until Christmas, 10% off your order at the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com. Ian, there is no excuses for our loyal listeners to not get some merch this holiday season.
No, and funny enough, I think this next paycheck I will be getting another sweatshirt because I need more sweatshirts, and I
don't know why
realized
that's
that.
funny.
What?
I don't know why that's funny. You said funny enough. I don't think it's funny.
Yeah, it's
Cop
a serious
that
topic.
merch. Cop that merch.
What?
What?
And what would be that promo code, Ian?
Oh, there'll be Xmas, and it's going to be live for a long time, so
Ian
use it.
popping that crop top in with the belly out.
I'm working on it.
The belly's starting to slim down a little bit.
Yeah.
He's been pumping
I'm
some-
aware.
Yeah.
He's
down
a
9.
member of the chat. He didn't leave the chat. We added him to the
I
Fitness
was gonna
Season
say,
Boy group chat. Gags
I've
left.
been working out for 8 months now again, and haven't been added back in.
Play the Stephen A clip right now.
No, I can't. Sorry, I don't know how it works. I would if
We
I
don't
could.
care.
Oh, here, I got
But-
you. I can do it.
Thanks, bud.
Oh no, don't no. Now it's not gonna
I'm
hit.
here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
All right, Ian.
It's the
I got
laugh.
you.
Ian, you figured it out. I'm proud of you. But hey, guys, I brought up the Main Event Wrestling Network. You saw a few of our members in the chat. This podcast, of course, is a part of the Main Event Wrestling Network. Tuck, if our listeners are not yet quite familiar with what's happening at the Main Event Network, why don't you tell them a little bit about what we got going on?
What makes peanut butter better? Jelly. What makes macaroni better? Cheese. What makes pizza better? Pineapple.
No! No!
At least somebody said it.
What is wrong with you? You go over to the West Coast and then you do that shit?
I have a
Tucky,
thing.
I've always liked you more.
Pepperoni, jalapeno, pineapple. Do it.
Lost me on jalapeno. Banana pepper for jalapeno.
Puss. Let's talk about the Main Event Wrestling
I
Network.
was gonna say,
I was on a bit. I was going on one, but what goes great with peanut butter? Jelly. What goes great with a WWE podcast? An independent wrestling podcast. What goes great with podcasts in general? Blogs. What goes great with blogs and podcasts and live streams? YouTube content. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We've got it all at mainevent_net. The Main Event Wrestling Network, a conglomeration, collaboration, community full of pro wrestling fans first. We are for the marks, by the marks, and we are joined by the wrestling junkies, the independent wrestling guide, Tim Vicious, the Great Brown Hope. We got a little squad that we're forming. A group per se, our own faction in the pro wrestling content game. That was a little bit of a wrap. It's the Main Event Wrestling Network. You already know what it is at main event_net. And part of the Main Event Mixer, or part of the Main Event Wrestling Network, this Saturday Main Event Mixer all have a beverage in hand. We're running down the AEW Full Gear card with not me. Well, I'm there, not just me, but Ian's going to be there. We've got Eric from the Wrestling Junkies, and we've got
Jay Gold.
And Jay Gold.
Which I did find out it is, yes, Jay Gold, as in the mineral. But also, Jay Gold did say he's not a big AEW guy, and this is the first time he has talked about a mainstream wrestling network, I guess, program, and he said probably forever. So this is actually kind of pretty special. So if you are a Jay Gold fan in specific, this will be a big, big moment, especially for Jay Gold.
Welcome to where the big dogs play.
Yeah. And I talked to him a little bit today, too. He said he does watch AEW. His co-hosts were just kind of dogging on him a little bit. I mean, they are the indie wrestling guide after all. So, yeah, shout out to them for joining the squad just about a month ago. But Great Brown Hope said Big Tuck Nasty could sell the hell out of some CDs on a late-night infomercial.
Ooh, I don't know if I like Big Tuck Nasty.
Mr. Biz.
Ian, what's going on with that QR code up there? What does that do?
Well, that's going to send you straight to the WWE website, and you could buy your official WWE merch, and every single purchase using that QR code is going to help us. And it's going to help you because it's going to give us some money to put back into the content. Everything that you purchase has come back to you.
Exactly. And I totally forgot, and it seemed a little naked down below. I did not have the ticker running, so now the ticker's running. But this is what happens, I guess, when you start podcasts a half hour later than you usually do. Everything's just thrown off a little bit. But, hey, you guys want to talk wrestling or something?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, give me 5 big boom, 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 booms, because we got big boom. I'm not talking about this match. I just wanted to do that bit real quick. He's going to win, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if he doesn't get a double chunk chocolate cookie after it, I'm going to be disappointed.
Well, I will say, after hearing that the Rizzler will be ringside, it's going to be that's kind of a big turn for Big Boom AJ.
Is the Rizzler the opponent of like Big Justice? Is this
maybe down the road? They could build that story.
No, Big Justice
Rizzler's like
is
the
other
sidekick.
one.
Yeah, Big
That
Justice
he's the Rizzler.
No, the Rizzler's completely different. You gotta get
different family.
Get into the Costco guy's world now.
Yeah, I'm a card carrying member of Costco, but I'm not one of the Costco guys.
It's a phony.
Right. Now I do like the song, but that's about all it goes. That's going to be our home run song at home for home games this year.
Bring the boom.
Yeah.
The second one's actually even better too, by the way.
Yeah, still bringing it. That one. You see, we're not going to hate on the Costco guys on this podcast.
I like it.
You might listen to other wrestling podcasts and be like, what the fuck is Big AJ on this card?
He was a wrestler. He has a pro wrestling background, and
for a
the
long
guys
time.
in the locker room actually think he has some feel. Like you can tell he's been around before.
His
he's
promos,
marketing the hell out of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it is worthwhile talking about. Like, he genuinely is good at his craft. You could tell he's old school in his promos, which comes across the screen. I don't think it's been 20 years since he wrestled. I don't think that's true. I think he has wrestled pretty recently, but it was for very small promotions, so people didn't really know about it. But also, QT Marshall and him go way back. So this could be like a very good match that we just don't know about yet.
It's happening on 0 hours, so we didn't add it to the predictions contest, which, by the way, Tuck, where would they go to fill out their predictions?
That would be a clean sweep for Big Boom AJ. Yeah. So, it's kind of a mute point at this juncture. Bit.ly, hit that /fullgear24. You know what I'm saying? Bit.ly /fullgear24. Couple thoughts and conditions. You're going to drop your name. You're going to give us a way to contact you and or verify if you're a real human. That has happened before. A lack thereof of a human. Yes. And then the winners you're picking. You are picking the declared winners. That really that becomes more important in the title matches. Right. A lot of people, sometimes people will pick who they think will retain, and that doesn't always happen. If a winner is not announced by the commentator, i.e. Bad Blood, WWE, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, that becomes a gray. In order to dethrone our current AEW champion, who is that? Who's our current AEW champion?
Is it Is it Ian?
Not I. Well, no,
I'll
it
look
is
up
still
while
me.
we're talking.
Wait, no,
Well,
I didn't.
for sure.
I didn't do the last one, so I am definitely out. Actually,
I built
was
the
moving.
form, but I don't think anybody sent it out.
So it's still me. That's three pay-per-views in a row.
Technically, I did fill out the Google form, and I did not tie with anybody on the Google form results.
What was the last pay-per-view they did?
Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
I'm
actually a
not
while ago.
finding. Yeah, it's the last thing I saw was from All In saying Ian was the AEW champion. So I'm
Well,
assuming
I
he
built a
still is.
form and have the submission, so I guess that means I'm kind of it sounds like Ian vacated it and gave it to me, i.e. Becky Lynch to Asuka. Yep.
I
I'm
kind
where's
of
your
see it
title?
on his shoulder right now, though, and I see one over here. Tuck, where's yours?
Oh, under everything. Under everything.
Wait, hold the phone.
Holding the title upside down, by the way. I will point that out.
All right, so we're just
i.e.
gonna do the rest of the show like
DDP.
this. Is that how he held it?
The iconic world champion Diamond Dallas Page picture, like the shot. He's on the turnbuckle holding it up, and the WCW belt's upside down.
You're one of the biggest DDP guys I know, so I'm not surprised that
Oh,
you
yeah.
knew that information.
DDP, Mick Foley, those guys are on my personal Mount Rushmore.
Bang Bros.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause they don't bang bang.
That's
Mick
it.
Foley went bang bang, and DDP went bang. So. it
All
makes
right,
sense
next
to me.
match.
Tim Vicious said Costco guy versus someone who swears by Sam's Club. Main event anywhere out there. Yeah, we can make that a main event at the next main event Wrestling Network indie show that we do, which we've never done.
Yeah, the next one.
Yeah. I'm gonna snag the Clippers WWE belt to rock for future mixers. He is the biggest Clippers fan I know, and it is a cool looking belt.
He's the only one I know, so definitely the biggest.
Yeah, that's true. He's the only Clippers fan I know. Anyways, let's go to the main card here. I will start us off. We got the hometown hero probably in Newark, MJF taking on Roderick Strong. Now, a lot of us assumed that MJF would probably be revisiting this with Adam Cole, but instead, Adam Cole lost to Takeshita, which good. Takeshita needed to win that match, in my opinion. So now it is Roderick Strong versus MJF, but I just don't see in any world Roderick Strong picking up the victory here unless they were trying to get away from doing MJF versus Adam Cole and they wanted to pivot maybe to Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. If Roddy were to get the win, I think that would make Adam Cole jealous. But I don't think that's going to happen here, Tuck. I think it's MJF all the way. We haven't seen him actually on Dynamite in what seems to be a month or so now, but I still think he's going to get a win here at Full Gear.
I agree. I think MJF, the hometown hero, I think this will be a good match. Again, a lot of AEW cards have a lot of great matches, and I think placement on the card matters a little bit on this one. This could be, if it's right after a banger or something like that, it could be a match that people sleep on a little bit. So I'm interested to see where they put it on the card. I'm going MJF. Bogus, what up?
I actually think this might kick off the show, since he's from New Jersey. Ian, what do you think about this match?
First off, I think it would be the tag team four-way match. I think that might start it off, but in typical AEW fashion. But for this match, I'm probably just going to go with the safe option of MJF. I think they're kind of starting to realize that you have something here with Adam Cole and MJF, and let's not burn it right away, which we all thought was going to happen. We all thought was going to be typical Tony Khan. As soon as they get back from injury, let's push him to the top, get him. I mean, it's not even the top.
Well,
it's
they had
a
the feud
non-title
going
feud.
before the injuries, so that would make sense.
Right. But also at the same time, it's like Adam Cole was out for so long, out of the world's eye, so you might as well give him some time to come back. And I think that's kind of the route they're going to go with here. I like that Roderick Strong's getting a singles match on a pay-per-view. Like, this is a pretty high, priority match, I would say.
Didn't he just face Ospreay too on a pay-per-view?
I don't think
feel
on a
like that was a
pay-per-view.
match for the
It might have been on a
international
Dynamite.
Okay.
But I like what they're doing with Roderick Strong. It's kind of reworking that whole Undisputed Kingdom a little bit, so it's making him a little bit more relevant. I did hate how Roderick Strong got the title, or not the title shot, but just this match shot. That match with Lance Archer was meh, which I love Lance Archer, but
I was gonna say that's a lot coming.
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah.
One of the biggest Lance Archer guys, but sometimes guys just don't have the chemistry and it doesn't work out. We all have our off nights. That shit happens, but Yeah, it seems like we're going with a clean sweep for MJF here, boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty then. Let's move on to another rematch. We saw this match, I believe, at the last pay-per-view, but Jay White was the one that got the win previously. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jay White has defeated Hangman Page in every one of the singles matches that they've had in their wrestling history. And that goes outside of AEW. Tuck, what do you think about this one? I think it should be, on the surface level, a pretty good match.
This one's got my gears very greasy. I have loved Hangman Page since the Swerve feud and his return. He's not vanilla babyface cowboy guy, if that makes sense. There's something more to him, and he gets to face one of the best pro wrestlers in the game, Jay White. I think that Hangman Page starts turning the corner here and finally defeats the Switchblade, Jay White.
And it's an interesting match because I could totally get people saying Jay White needs another win over Hangman Page, and this could be like a sort of a spiral for Hangman Page, Ian, but I feel like we've already done that. So where do you sit with this one?
Well, you're kind of right with the whole spiral case, but you are on the opposite side. I think this will be a Jay White loss. Hangman Page wins this. If it sends it to a third match, it does kind of go down that same route that Swerve and Hangman went down. I kind of wish I don't, because I want Jay White to turn heel here, or very similar, like very closely after. I think the writing's on the wall. We have not seen the Bang Bang Gang in full uniform. It's been a long time, even before.
Where the gun's been, do you know?
I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. They could be on ROH, and I have no clue, because thanks ROH.
That's paywall.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be there.
Isn't that funny?
It's not funny. It pisses me off.
I think it's kind of funny. Like, that's the thing you have to pay for.
Right.
We get
Like,
WWE, NXT, and AEW for free.
For free.
You know what I mean? Like, even the WWE pay-per-views are essentially free. There's value in that. When they merged with Peacock, it became more valuable to us because Mista uses Peacock too. You know, so ROH is the thing you pay for. Because fuck it, that's why.
I guess. You know, she isn't Hurricane Chris, but Bay, Erica Marini is in the chat. Erica, our former co-host, if you didn't already know, it is always great to see you hanging out with us here for episode 222. That's quite the mouthful, but I haven't given my prediction for this match, so do I want to be cute? Nah, I'm not going to play it cute. I got to play it safe, and I think it makes the most sense for Hangman Page to get the victory here. And this is tough for me too, because these are probably my two favorites in AEW right now. I know that's saying a lot. The Hangman Page one shouldn't be surprising.
No, just the Jay White that shocks me.
Jay White, something about him. I just think he's cool, and I think he'll be okay with eating a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. He's just a cool cat. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Hangman Page.
Hey White, what's your gimmick? I'm just a cool guy.
Just cool dude.
Fucking cool. It
Kyle
does kind of
Wood.
work though. Like he is kind of cool. Like, it's a cool dude.
I wish I had those abs. Yeah.
You don't?
Nah. I was gonna say, yeah, not yet. Yeah, yeah, of course, right on track. I was gonna ask if Jay White does turn heel, does that move you in the right direction for his character or the wrong direction?
Yes, he is much better as a heel.
Because I want him to absolutely blindside Juice Robinson, because I think they have something to really unfold there one-on-one. The feuds. I know Juice Robinson is really good in the ring, 1v1. We all know that, and I would like to see what he could do and portray through a story with Jay White.
That'd be a good, early 2025 feud, for January, February, and March, and then wrap things up. Yeah, I'd be here for that. But guys, if you're watching this live, don't forget to share your predictions as well down in the comments. You all are competing for what is probably going to be a new MVM champion, because Robbie Collins is unfortunately not in the chat. But if you also want to fill out your predictions, there it is.
You know what else they can compete for? A signed Rey Mysterio figure. You want to talk about it?
What do they got to do for that?
Dude, if you're on YouTube, people, we're shooting for 400 subscribers. Once we get there, you have a 1 in 400 chance, which is, saying it out loud makes it feel a lot like bigger odds. I'm presenting it. Hey, you could. It costs nothing to maybe win a Rey Mysterio signed figure. Come
Yeah,
on,
you
don't-
get a 0.25% chance.
Oh,
I
good.
I could rig it
Nice.
too. If you Venmo
No,
me.
no, 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 no.
But Dad, I want more money.
Hey, an on the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com purchase using the code Xmas, I think could warrant an extra entry or 5. You know, like I think
I'll
Good
give
Good
it
luck
5.
sorting that one out.
Yeah.
I'll give it 5.
That's
I'll
a-
give
that's
you
a gag
5
squad.
extra entries if you purchase something and prove it to me at the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, they
I'd
can
love
leave
that.
a note on the Mark order that would indicate who they are on YouTube. They could leave a comment on YouTube with the order number. That'd be cool.
It would be very cool. So yeah, we'll add that to it. We are right now at 364 subscribers on YouTube. If you do the quick math, that's 36 more people. So be a friend, tell a friend to subscribe to OTM. Boys, let's move on here to our first title match that we're going to talk about. And my friend Ian Garavaglia gets to start us off here. We have the TNT champion, of course, Jack Perry, taking on the newly re-signed Daniel Garcia. Which direction do you see this one going in, Ian?
This one is really tough and probably one of the toughest ones because on screen it looks like it's Daniel Garcia all day. And it shouldn't even be close. But that also at the same time, this whole feud has not been in the ring. It has been outside of the ring in these nice vignettes that I have loved. This past week was really cool. It is really weird with Daddy Magic being in the vignettes, being a cold-blooded, ruthless killer, and then
on commentary.
and on commentary at the same time. It is a very strange process, but it's cool. The vignettes are really nice, and I know that Daniel Garcia and Jack Perry are they're good friends in real life. So I'm sorry, or at least like 3 years ago they were really good friends. I don't know about
How am
now.
I going to sleep tonight?
That's true.
Weird.
I think I'm just gonna have to go with the basic. I think I'm just gonna have to go Daniel Garcia, new champ. Like it's writing on the
Sound
wall.
more excited. This should be exciting.
I know, but I want to throw like these. I haven't thrown a single wild card out there yet. Like it's just all very straightforward. Yeah, and I hope they shock me. I hope that Jack Perry retains because that's what he does. He's a heel. I just saw your face and you didn't like it. Good.
I don't want him to be champion anymore. And maybe that
Good.
means he's doing it right. But I also think I love that segment that we got on Dynamite this week. The only thing I didn't like about it was all Daniel Garcia did was hit the lights at the front of the vehicle.
Yeah.
You could have done more damage and been a little bit more threatening to Jack Perry to instill
hit him in the
that
head.
fear into him. Yeah, kill him. No, don't do that.
Pay-per-view.
Daniel
We're gonna get
Garcia's
to the
gonna win.
pay-per-view, buddy.
Yeah. Daniel Garcia is going to win this one. I think this is the obvious choice here. And I think he deserves a crack at holding a singles title because I believe he has not held singles gold in his tenure at AEW. And he's coming off that fresh contract. I think Jack Perry still got stuff with the Elite. And he can dive right back into that stuff. So I think he'll be okay with the loss here. I'm going with a new TNT champion in Daniel Garcia.
As am I. Nothing else to add. I think it's time to see what Daniel Garcia can do as a champion in AEW. And I don't think Jack Perry had as bad a run as I thought he was going to. If that makes sense, I predicted he held it a little longer than I thought he would. And the feud's leading up to this, but I think both guys can win in a great match here.
It is nice though with this Jack Perry run because usually the new titles with the young guys, we always see them every single week retaining the title. That stuff gets annoying. This one has been really quiet. And obviously, like you said, the numbers have stacked up. I mean, don't hate me for saying it, but it's Roman-esque of a title reign where it's quiet. It's a quiet title reign, could speak, do vignettes backstage, and that's just another week under his belt for holding that belt. So it just adds more prestige to it. And the Jack Perry title design when that's
cool.
Shown, very cool. So I like what they did with this whole feud. I would not be shocked or would not be upset if this feud kept going on.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. And if you start to think of the best TNT champions in AEW history, I think you could have Jack Perry in that conversation. Obviously, you're going to put Darby Allin, Brody Lee, maybe
Sammy
Cody
Guevara.
Rhodes, Sammy Guevara. Yeah, but I think Jack Perry has made a strong enough case. But for me, Darby and Brody would be at the top. That's just going off the top of my head. But yeah, we are all going with Daniel Garcia to win then, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's move on to this one, which I'm very excited for. As we all know now, Bobby Lashley is all elite, and he is having his very first pay-per-view match against a former AEW World Champion in Swerve Strickland. This is something we've been talking about on the podcast the last couple weeks. A lot of excitement for this one, a lot of buzz behind it. And it wouldn't make much sense, in my opinion, for Swerve to win this one. I just don't see Bobby Lashley losing his very first pay-per-view match. But if there were to be a guy that can be fine with taking a loss, I think it's a guy like Bobby Lashley who has world championship pedigree in other companies. And let's be honest, if he loses to Swerve Strickland, who is a former champion, it's not that bad. Regardless, I'm still going with Bobby Lashley to win. Shenanigans will be afloat for sure. And yeah, that's my pick for this one, Tucky. What about you?
I think this matchup can say a lot about both guys. Swerve Strickland was a world champion, and they're trusting him with the new WWE, former WWE star Bobby Lashley. And I also think it says about Bobby Lashley, good things about Bobby Lashley because they're pairing him with a former world champion. So I think both guys are great. Both guys are great for this matchup. It makes a lot of sense, and I am going with Bobby Lashley as well because Swerve is going to be okay after it, and I think it's not just going to be Bobby Lashley with this one. I think Swerve is going to lose, kind of like in the numbers game at minimum, and so I'm interested to hear what Ian says. He was shaking his head a little bit, biting his tongue. He's going Swerve.
No, I'm just upset that you guys all went Bobby Lashley because I think that's where it's going to go as well. Again, like you said, Gags,
that should be obvious, though.
Is it? I don't feel like this one's much of a coin flip.
Yeah.
What does it think? I don't know.
I don't think it's obvious because on paper, to an AEW fan, it's like we know Swerve Strickland. Obviously, everybody knows Bobby Lashley, but at the same time, it's not solidified in the AEW ring. We know what he could do, and we know how good of a title holder he can be. So I think more of the question revolves around the Hurt Syndicate and who the next person could be in that syndicate. Maybe it's Swerve. Maybe it's a Leo Rush. Maybe it's, an AR Fox. I think there's so many other pieces that there are to tell about this Hurt Syndicate that it doesn't matter if Swerve loses. I think if you bring someone in like a Leo Rush and you have that transition over to a new member, it's not going to take anything away from Swerve. It's going to be all on the new Hurt Syndicate that comes up. So I'm hoping it's something along those lines where there's a new member or there is a twist of some sort. I don't think it's going to be a clean win. I think it's too early for there to be any clean win for Bobby Lashley over Swerve.
Do you think we get a new member then?
Yeah, I genuinely think there is something, and I know that's kind of like it's very like low-hanging fruit with Leo Rush joining the Hurt Syndicate. Is it though? I mean, AEW fans don't like the long-term stuff.
Yeah.
Or do people not like AEW because there's not more of the long-term stuff?
I guess that's true. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see them being able to just run out Bobby Lashley and company and that being hot as it is right now. I think if you add one more member, you add a mouthpiece. I mean, MVP is great. Don't get me wrong. But I think you need a mouthpiece that could also wrestle.
I don't think you need a guy that's going to wrestle. I think MVP's purpose is just there to talk up the group. I mean, you got Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. And then I think the story could be going forward is if they're not enough to get the job done, that's when they start recruiting people. Because I don't think they necessarily need somebody in that faction right away. But I see what you're saying. I do.
I got another guy. I got another guy in mind.
Who?
I have another guy as well. I don't think you're going to say him.
You're not going to say who I'm saying. I'm saying Danhausen. Let's get weird.
Oh, God. All right. I was going to say Powerhouse Hobbs. I think there's still something
Powerhousen.
about that.
Send them both.
Okay.
Powerhouse. Well, that actually is a good tag team right there.
Come on,
No,
baby.
do not.
This one's interesting from Tim. I don't hate this. Samoa Joe returns, joins the Hurt Syndicate. He's got a history with MVP and the Beatdown Clan.
God, where's Samoa Joe been? I mean, I know where he's been. He's been doing video games and movies. So
Good for him.
Yeah, I want him back so badly.
Right on. All right, so everybody's going with Bobby Lashley?
Oh, yeah. The Almighty. The former Almighty.
I don't know.
No,
who's
he's
up
the
first
Almighty.
for this
He's still
one.
the Almighty.
Oh, cool.
He is still the Almighty, yeah. Because every time I'm Dynamite now, MVP introduces him, the Almighty Bobby Lashley, and I think I'm watching Monday Night Raw every time. I get very confused.
WWE put him on a little bit of a heater and then cooled him off immediately and let him go.
During COVID, he was one of the top wrestlers in the company.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was fantastic.
Insane. Like the Hurt Business, like when we talked about it, could have been huge in that time, but they weren't. So an opportunity for AEW to capitalize for sure. I'm not sure who gets to go first for this one, but
Tucky.
good luck. This is the most coin flip of a match, in my opinion, on this card. We got Will Ospreay taking on his former friend Kyle Fletcher, who recently has been getting heated up, but he did not beat Will Ospreay the last time they faced off, I believe. So that makes things even more difficult to predict, in my opinion, for this one, Tuck.
We're gonna get a 5-star match, or we're gonna get an over gimmicked, over choreographed like piece. Maybe. I trust. Like I don't know. I really like Ospreay and his athleticism. He doesn't feel as choreographed to me as Ricochet does.
No.
Planned and pointed. He still has that aggressive side to him. I'm really looking forward to this match. I think Kyle Fletcher wins. Confidence is 3 out of 10.
Man, that's crazy to like even hear because
I
you
lo-
were like looking at these names on paper.
I don't know. Sometimes, like, I feel like I need to take more risks on AEW pay-per-view predictions. When you pick, like, AEW is not afraid to have a guy lose. I don't think, and
They'll do it.
that makes it interesting. I think sometimes the AEW, the cards are so big, it's harder to retain the predictions title as well, because you can float with the WWE PLE championship for 3-4 months because of the 5-match cards and things like that. So this one is going to be a fun one. I kind of want Kyle Fletcher to win because I know Will Ospreay's a GOAT. You know what I mean?
Literally called the Billy Goat for a reason.
I don't know how, though. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Don Callis family shenanigans will be there probably.
Yeah, but Will Ospreay's smart.
Yeah, this is true. And he could fight multiple people, no problems. Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, I've tried to rack a bunch of ideas in my brain and nothing's clicking. I'm gonna go with on paper what makes the most sense because genuinely, there's not much to add about the match. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
This could be one of those not passing the torch moments, but also bringing Kyle Fletcher up to the degree that Will Ospreay is at. Like, should be in the same conversation because Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay in ring are pretty close to neck and neck. Like, they are very good. Kyle Fletcher especially. And I'm getting a little shrugs, but I see a lot of Kyle Fletcher, or a lot of Will Ospreay in Kyle Fletcher, which obviously that's a story they've been telling, which is a really fun story to hear because it's like the little brother, big brother, scenario. I think I'm gonna go with Will Ospreay to win this, mainly because that's kind of like the low hanging fruit. It makes the most sense. But at the same time, again, I don't know how long they're going to want to tell this story because I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over the whole Will Ospreay versus the Don Callis family. I really am. Mm-hmm. As much as that hurts me to say, because I like the Don Callis family. I like what they're doing with it. But also at the same time, I want them to focus on a Kyle Fletcher without Will Ospreay in the picture.
I agree. I agree totally with what you're saying, but on the form that I have already sent in for the predictions contest.
Is this going to be your final one, or is this the first draft?
No, this is the first.
You've done that before.
I'll do it again.
Mr. OTM final.
No, this one will probably be final, and I'm gonna stick with what I said earlier. I'm going with Kyle Fletcher to win this one. What Ian said makes a lot of sense because I agree with you, Ian. I want this feud to kind of be over with, these guys to separate from each other for a little bit. And I also think Will Ospreay eventually has to get into the world title scene. Like, they've been kind of prolonging it a little bit now, which is surprising because I thought he was just going to get put right into the main event scene. That hasn't been the case. You look at another guy like Okada, who I thought would also be in the main event scene by now, but he ain't even on this card, and I don't know why. But it's a big name to leave off, in my opinion. But why do you always have to have a counter argument for AEW stuff?
Because I bring actual debut.
Because you get mad when I'm right.
No, I was going to say, I think the Elite are its own storyline, and not a lot of the Elite, besides Jack Perry, is involved in this whole pay-per-view. So that's why they're left off. That's all I was going to say.
Think you'd want one of the bigger names in your company on the card.
I think.
Just my thought process. But regardless, yeah, Kyle Fletcher for the win. I'm not confident whatsoever, similar to Tuck, but should be a good one like you guys were saying.
If Okada's not on, what's the last
champion?
one? What's the what is it called? The last one of the year? World's End?
World's End, yeah.
Yeah. If he's not on that card, are you nervous? Like 2 pay-per-views in a row?
But aren't they doing the Continental Classic starting next week? So that's he'll probably have that match on like a Dynamite or something like that.
He's got to be on New Japan's Forbidden Door, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But that's not till when? The summertime, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a summer one?
Yeah, aren't they going
I thought
to
it was earlier.
the UK for it? I think they announced
Oh,
that.
yeah, they are. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and isn't there also an Australian pay-per-view coming up for AEW?
Grand Slam, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think we're connecting a lot of dots here. Look at us. We do pay attention, guys. Another matchup that I'm looking forward to. It's always fun when AEW does these multi-tag team matches. We got the Champs Private Party taking on the Outrunners, taking on the House of Black, and the Acclaimed. Ian, I think you go first for this one.
Yeah, I think it's so early. You can't say that Private Party's not going to retain. I think what they have with Private Party right now, I like what they did, just having Private Party being off watching the tag teams fight for their gold later on. That was a really cool concept, and it really plays to their characters, which is also really funny. Big shout out to the Outrunners because they deserve this, and they've deserved this for a long time. Not a long time, but this year at least. I mean, every single team on this match really, you're not upset with them winning the titles, which is awesome. Like, saying that with the current AEW tag team status, which is wild to say. If we said that 2 years ago, it's
right.
It's been kind of in a cold spot right now, but all 4 of these teams right now are kind of at the head of the tag team division in AEW. I mean, the Young Bucks are still there, but I think this is just kind of, you need to build at least one pay-per-view with the Private Party. It was a really good feel-good moment, but give them one pay-per-view of being the tag team title champions at the end of it, and maybe have them lose another next one. But I think there's more of a story to tell. The Outrunners, they get here for the first time. House of Black, I think there's some dissension they could start playing into, and same with the Acclaimed. I think Max Caster I don't know if it's just him being kind of a D-bag on TV and really trying to play into himself as a solo guy, but they're trying to hint at it a little bit, whether intentional or not. And I think there's some dissension to tell about the Acclaimed as well. So give me Private Party to retain.
To have an answer to your question earlier, that you wouldn't mind if any of these teams won. The Acclaim would kind of rub me the wrong way if they were to win.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Just
they're probably my
because
fourth.
They've had their moment.
Yep.
But this is a perfect opportunity for the Outrunners to be seen at a prestigious level, because they've been competing on Collision for the past couple months, building up steam there, doing some great things. They should be next in line, in my opinion, to hold those tag team titles. But you said it, Ian. They invested, a 5-year-long story, essentially, into the Private Party Young Bucks thing, going back to the way beginning of AEW. They're not going to drop the titles here. Way too soon. Will be a fun match, but give me Private Party to retain.
I agree. Private Party for me, for no other reasons than what's been mentioned. I was talking about the New Japan pay-per-view January 5th, Wrestle Dream, which AEW is a cross-promotion with that.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
That's in Japan.
Maybe we don't watch product.
Yeah, 2025.
So that's the day before Raw is on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit. We got some big shows coming up. I know we talked about it.
It's gonna be a long episode.
Yeah, there's gonna be just a lot of long episodes coming up, Ian. So get ready for that, bud. But yeah, don't forget also December 19th, OTMEs. You're not gonna want to miss that one. This matchup should be good. Obviously, there's been a lot of backlash for Mercedes Moné and the way she has performed in AEW. I think it's starting to make a lot of sense. I think she's doing some really good heel work for their women's division. My only criticism with Mercedes is what's attached to her, and that's Camille. And I feel like they've made Camille look weak as of late. Granted, she had one arm last night. I didn't like that segment. That's where I see this eventually getting to is Camille versus Mercedes. So with that, I got to go with Mercedes to retain. And I'm a big Chris Statlander guy. Ian knows that. Ian's a big fan of hers as well. I think eventually Chris will get that title back. I just think they're just holding this out until Camille finally just says, you know what? I've had enough of this treatment. I'm going to go after that title. And I think Camille will be the one to beat Mercedes, Tuck.
Wow. I think that's a bold prediction, but I don't think it's far-fetched. I just don't see Chris Statlander defeating Mercedes Moné in this one. Ian's going to go with
on each other's
Statlander.
level, you think?
Yeah, Chris Statlander's not on that level, but I also think it's interesting that Mercedes Moné is not the women's world champion too. So that forces me to throttle my, you know what I mean?
Why isn't that match on the card? Or why isn't there a match for the women's title? What have they been doing with that?
Mariah May's got a celebration.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw her doing this on AEW Dynamite.
Did you?
Doing what? Show it again.
You want to see me? See, this is why you got to watch on YouTube, guys. You never know what you're going to get. Ian, what do you think about this one?
Tuck, do you just, when you do your predictions, you just watch my screen and then see what I do?
No, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Oh, do I? While I'm
Watch my
talking,
reactions?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
That is my life.
Yeah, no, I think Kyle said it. He said pretty much all of my. I don't like that. I'm not looking at you. You kind of said all of my reasonings for Mercedes to retain here. I think it's all going to come down to Camille. I'm not totally upset about what they're doing with Camille. I kind of like what they're doing because it's just kind of overselling what they're trying to portray with the whole kind of bullying situation. And it makes sense to me. It's kind of writing on the wall. Also, Chris Statlander, like you said, could come for that title once Camille wins that title.
Yeah.
And they've already hinted at that. They've had those stare downs every now and then with Chris and Camille, and they've already had a match too. So, I think this doesn't hurt either of them if Monet retains. I think it could go either way, and it doesn't hurt anybody. To be honest, I
think
wouldn't
it would hurt Mercedes. I mean, you can't put Mercedes in the world title scene if she's losing matches to Chris Statlander. Let's be real. And that's not taking anything away from Chris Statlander. I'm just going off of how they are presenting Mercedes Moné. She's
I
the
don't-
star.
Yeah, but she's kind of a dick star that's just kind of overestimating Chris Statlander.
So it's working, like you told me earlier with Jack Perry. So
No. I'm saying Chris Statlander literally laid out Mercedes Moné. I don't see how that is there's no way she could beat her. Like, literally, they just showed her laying out Mercedes Moné after Camille already ran in through the ring this week.
Well, that's usually a tell on who's going to win, and it's usually the person that got laid out.
I don't know.
In
I wouldn't be shocked if
recent
there was an upset here. I really wouldn't.
All right, we'll clip this moment here at the
Is that your
48-minute mark.
No, it's Mercedes.
Say Chris Statlander.
I'm keeping my title.
For the record,
I was told Mercedes would be a draw. The Great Brown Hope said. Ian, you got a rebuttal to that?
I'm not a big Mercedes person, and I told that. I said I wasn't a big Sasha Banks person either.
I don't know who was saying that. She would be a draw. I mean, but she's definitely probably brought in a few extra eyeballs. I mean, you can't really pinpoint a number on it, but you would assume. All right, here we go. One more matchup to talk about here on Full Gear, and it is for the AEW World Title. Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy, and we've sat here on this show multiple times saying our praises for Orange Cassidy. Honestly, could be the MVP of this company over the first 5 years that they've been around. He's just the model of consistency. He always shows up. He always delivers. I just don't see him delivering and winning the world title here. It's too early in the Death Riders thing for Moxley to lose the title, in my opinion. I'm not sure who would be next up to challenge, but I just feel like they're going to be outnumbered once again. And sure, maybe you can have the locker room come out. I don't know. But for me, it's going to be an and still Jon Moxley. And I'm expecting this to be a pretty damn good match because we know these two guys can go.
yeah, I agree with you for all the same points. I think Orange Cassidy is going to put on one hell of a match, and it's so interesting from the early days of AEW to what we didn't know he was, and learning the character a little bit and becoming familiar with Orange Cassidy to now, like, you expect when he's in the ring that the match is going to be a 10. and I think it will. But my biggest reason, as you stated, was that the Death Rider thing is still a little fresh, like new, and give it legs. So.
Do you like the fact that the world title, and granted, this is obviously a world title match, but it hasn't been like physically shown on AEW television. It's just kept in a briefcase. Does that bother you at all, or is that just kind of a little thing that you don't even pay attention to, Tuck?
No, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, maybe that's just me being nitpicky. It bothers me a little bit. But Ian, this main event, what are we thinking? Is this where you're going to get crazy?
No, I don't think so. Because I think there are bigger challengers on the horizon. And I'm going to throw a name out there. I think his injury timeline is kind of lining up. Adam Copeland. I mean, if there was one guy to rally the entire kind of locker room scenario, all the young guys, it's got to be Adam Copeland, and that could maybe be your big war that they've been hinting at for a while. Bryan Danielson, that was a older guy, everyone respected him. Adam Copeland, another guy, older guy, everybody respects. On paper, that makes sense for him to be a leader. I just don't want them to rush into anything. If that is the case, I think there's a 2% chance of him being the next guy or a guy to take off the title from Jon Moxley. But I do want to hint at, I like what they did with this whole storyline, and I like what they're doing with it. The only issue I have with it is the Wheeler Yuta situation, but I think that's also supposed to be the point of it. It's supposed to be
that's
your kind
the
of
wrinkle that I've enjoyed the most, honestly, Ian.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's good. It's just weird because it's like Wheeler Yuta can't make up his mind, but again, that's his character. It's supposed to be, dude, just pick a side and stick to it. Exactly. He's the young boy, just gets some shit beat out of him by his teammates all the time and gets bullied. It makes sense. And also, I like what they're doing with this whole thing. It's you have Orange Cassidy, you have a Darby Allin. Everybody in that younger category of AEW guys, like they are AEW guys, are fighting for this title. This is the kind of epitome of AEW versus WWE. That's what it feels like to me, at least.
You just mentioned the name, and now I know who I want to see defeat Jon Moxley. I want to see Darby Allin defeat Jon Moxley and become AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Because every time Darby Allin is on my television screen, he's sacrificing his body. He's entertaining the hell out of me. He's just a guy you want to get behind. Like, literally, 2 weeks ago, he gets flung into a garage door by Claudio. Then he has a match with him, a banger of a match on Dynamite this week. Darby Allin, that's a guy that should be in the world title conversation very soon. I know I'm looking ahead. I know we're talking about Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy. But I don't know, guys. To me, I think it's got to be Darby next.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issue in that. It's another guy that deserves that world title shot, and everybody still loves. He is, if there is one flagship guy for AEW in that young category, it's Darby Allin. He is Mr. AEW. He's, like you said, he has put his body on the line pretty much every single time he's out there. Strong bones.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, we're all going with Jon Moxley to retain his AEW world title, which means we have gone through the Full Gear card. And if you want to be involved in the AEW Full Gear predictions contest and try and dethrone my co-host below me, Ian, go to bit.ly/fullgear24 to fill out your predictions. But here we are towards the end of the show. It's a little later than usual. Appreciate everybody that decided to tune in, even though we started a little late. But we have to award the MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Tucky told you all about it at the beginning of the show. I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to tell you that we have an new MVM of OTM. He's a 6-time MVM champion, the Great Brown Hope.
Bell to bell. You'll love to see it.
He's always out here, as he says. That guy is a main event player, pun intended. He earned this one. Tim Vicious was a close second. Tim, you're almost there. You're sending up the card a little bit. We'd love to see that. But the AEW champion's holding that title strongly down below. Ian, how confident are you at 1 through 10 that you're going to retain?
A 10. I mean, I make it 4 pay-per-views in a row. I didn't even defend last pay-per-view, and I still retained.
Technically, you didn't.
Look at this guy. You're like Brock Lesnar if he was a champion, not defending shit. We got a hell yes from the Great Brown Hope. That's what he said earlier should be his
A
sound drop when
worthy opponent, a worthy candidate for the title. Maybe the Great Brown Hope is the one to dethrone Ian. Love to see it.
I tell you
Bring
what, the Great Brown Hope is a great brother because I see him all the time repping this OTM holiday sweater. And if you want to get one for the holidays, yes, it's very comfortable, might I add. Head to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. And Ian, what promo code would you use to save 10%?
Miss.
Nailed
For
it.
10%
On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. Tucky, I think that's all we got for them. Why don't you send us home?
After again, it kind of goes like this every time. After talking about the card, I'm a little bit more excited, So might make it a Grubhub Taco Bell night. Might make pizza at home. I have options. I can do things. Looking forward to that.
I do got one more thing. I forgot to reiterate this once again. I know you brought it up a little earlier, but friendly reminder: if you want to hear us dive deeper and talk to Mr. Cincinnati and Jay Gold from the Main Event Wrestling Network, we are going to be live for the Main Event Mixer at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 p.m. Central for those that live in my area. At mainevent_net, all things AEW Full Gear before Full Gear. And then next weekend, Sunday morning, December 1st, there will be another Main Event Mixer. Make sure you're using that hashtag when you are on X. That will be recapping Survivor Series. And I have the list with me. We have the Great Brown Hope, Tim Vicious, myself, and the podcast dad that are going to be recapping Survivor Series. So we got some big shows coming your way. Main Event
a lot of the main event roster showing up over the next 2 mixers, a thing you love to see. Perhaps a main event mailbag prior to the Full Gear card if anyone has specific talking points they want to cover. This was a pretty deep dive into the card top to bottom. And so maybe a mailbag or comment section for some things to talk about. I might come up with a game.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Hey, I'll be working behind the scenes. I will be around. I'm not going to be on your screen.
Games,
I'll be around.
boys? We might play some games.
Drinking games?
I might also not even think about that idea again until the mixer. So,
Ian, that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen,
before.
we are. This is the Go Home OTM show for 4 consecutive Saturday shows coming up too.
Wow.
Strap in.
Some things you like, definitely some things you like, and the half-hour time change is going to become pretty regular in December. So, with the half-hour delay,
Half-hour delay. What are you talking about?
the timing of our show.
Oh, I forgot we were going to be doing it at 7:30 going here on out. Oh.
Yeah.
It didn't really translate with viewers today. I don't think people like us that much when we go at 7:30.
No, we talked about AEW.
Is that why? No.
I think.
Ian, I did not say it.
No, you didn't. I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I'm very tired.
Chat's going to be bigger for Deadline next week. Or, yeah.
Probably.
Deadline.
No. Survivor Series next week.
Oh,
Deadline
shit.
the week
Survivor
after
Series.
that.
Well, Survivor Series.
Main event Friday night or Saturday night main event. Yeah, we got a lot coming up.
It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.